Hello viewers, welcome to CodeForAny. If you hear new, hit subscribe buttons and notification bell so you can never miss any our incredible content. Node.js app and backend API inside. Today we need to create here the user right list and driver right list. We need to develop here user right list for the user apps for the gettings here the all red related the list we need to get and driver apps for need to create here the driver right list need to develop here. First of all need to create here API for the driver right list. Write down here the app.post and to write down here API and to give this here the API names driver right list. And now need to create here request response like this sets here. Now need to call this here the helper dlog and to print this here the request dot body. Now need to save this request object inside this value for request body. Need to save here request dot body like this set here. Now need to check here the access tokens. Need to write down here the check access tokens. Now need to give this here first parameters request dot headers. So need to pass this here headers. Now need to give this here the response objects. Then after we need to get here the if user are valid then to get this here the user objects need to return here and to write down here the callback functions. Now we need to check this here the parameters are valid or not. No need to check here because need to always get here the without parameters we need to call this here this API. Maybe you need to change this here the API names to drivers all right list like this sets here because you need to get here the all rights descending orders need to get this here last rights need to get here first and all rights need to get here the last into set this here. Write down here the db dot query and to write down here the query I need to select use this here the prompt booking detail and to write down here bd like this set here. Now another so need to inner joins need to set this here. First of all need to set here all inner joins and then after need to give this here the needed columns need to pass this here. Now need to write down here the inner join. I have to need this here the service detail. Give this here the alias sd and to write down here the on methods. Need to write down here sd dot service id is equal to bd dot service id like this sets here. Then need to add here the plus signs. Also need to copy this API lines and to paste this here two times. And now need to change here the tables. First one give this here the price detail tables. And now need to give this here the alias ed like this sets. Now need to change here pd. Give this here the price id for columns. Need to check here. Same as need to pass as a bd price id like this sets. And another tables need to join this here the payment tables need to save this here payment detail and to give this here the name ppd and to set here ppd and now need to set here the payment id and also need to give this here payment ID. Like this, need to set here joins and to write down here the where conditions. Need to first of all need to set here bd dot driver id specific this driver login drivers need to pass this here. That's why need to pass here the driver id need this here for these parameters question mark, and also need to check here bd dot need to write down here booking status between and question like this, and conditions need to apply here bd dot status is equal to need to question mark, and order by we need to set this here bd dot booking id as need to give this here that the sending orders need to set this here booking id please s like this sets. Now need to pass here the value. First of all need to pass this here the value as a user id. First parameters driver id we need to check here this user accepted rights need to get this here for this list. Then after need to give this here the bsk dot accept status bs dot accept, and another parameters need to and of ps cancel ride. This status between need to give this years and need this here the data, and status is equal to need to use here one like this sets. And now need to get here the results errors and gets here the data. Now need to check here if errors, then need to help her throw HTML errors. Need to pass here the errors and response objects and to return these functions and execute this statements. Else parts need to calling this here and to find out here the totals where total amount is equal to set here the 0 like this sets. Now we need to pass here one by one the columns names. Need to set this here pd dot like this. We need to create here multiples. We need to now set and one by one set here the columns names like this sets. First we need to give this here the booking id first columns, then after we need this here pickup address, then after needs here the drop off address, then after needs here the pickup date, then after need here the accepted time, then after need to start time, then after need to stop time, then after need here the total distance, then after need to pass this here the duration and whole text, tip amount, then after booking status. Now another need this here SD tables inside. We need here some columns service name Then after sd dot icon is equal to, need to check here the cache when not equal to blank. Then need to use here the concats. We hear these lines and to put this here. Replace with ears like sets ears. Then after sd dot color, then now need to needs here p dots payment type. Now check here the conditions. Case when pd dot amount AMP more than 0 and bd dot booking status is equal to complete ride. Then to give this here the pd dot amt. Else parts need to check this here. When another conditions need to check here. pd dot amt 0 and bd dot booking status is equal to cancel. Then need to set here 0 and when another conditions pd dot amt less than equal to 0, then to set here 0 else set here 0. Okay. Is equal to give this here amount writes amounts like this set here. Same as need to calculate here the driver amounts need to calculate, need to call this here the case conditions. Case when bd dot status equal to high, then pd dot driver amt else need to set here 0 and now need to set here as driver amt like this set seals. Now need to set here the right commissions, need to set here, so need to copy these lines and to paste this here and to change this here the columns names as a ride commission and to change this here column names as a ride commissions like this. We need to set this here need to like this need to puts and to get this here the results. Now we need to pass this here bs dot complete and bs dot cancels need to apply to this value. First one this and first one this and second one this need to give this here the value years. Now need to call this here the results and to get this here the for each loops and to find calculates here the totals amounts in object and here index. Get this here. Now need to write down here the total amounts is equal to plus or need to parse plot and to pass this here to booking object dot driver amount. All these here and to get this here the totals. Now return here the response. Set here the status is equal to set here 1, set here payload is equal to need to set here the ride list, set here the results, then after need to total is equal to need to total like this need to return here the value. And this is for the driver. All ride list API are the developing plans. Now need to create here the users, need to copy here and to paste this here and to change this here user all ride list need to need this here. Now unused need to value need to remove here. First of all need to need this here the booking ID, pickup address, stop address, pickup dates, accept time, start time, stop times, total distance, total durations, whole text, tip amounts, and booking status, service names, service icons, colors, payment types, amounts. Also need to need this here. Maybe no needs here the amounts parameters. Only service related information need to set here. That's why I need to remove here all payments related informations because only we need to give this here list details can inside we need to call this all data and to set this here, but now we're only displaying here the details for the ride booking. That's why I need to remove here these conditions here like this. Remove total text and tip amounts. No need, this is the total durations and maybe you need to give this here estimate durations and times need to also provide here. bd dot maybe no needs give issue. Durations and total durations. Save this here. And also need to remove these conditions, no needs. Set C. Now need to set here the user ID and to pass this here the login user ID. Also need to check here access token times USD users, and here's also check UT driver. Like this set C. Now no needs here the check here the booking tabs. Need to remove here this lines and to remove these conditions. Save. Now this is the user all right list. We need to get this years. Remove here the total calculations. No needs to pass here the direct results and to remove these calculations of the calculations. Save here. Now users all rights list need to API creatings are the done. Now need to develop here another API for the rating. Right ratings API we need to develop for the both API we need to combine. User ratings and driver ratings we need to create here the single API, but we need to pass this here the user types. No need to pass here user type, need to get this here the access tokens object inside, need to get this here the which type users are the settings. App dot post and to check here's API slash ride rating and to check this here's request results. Check here helper dlog and to pass this here request body where request object is equal to request dot body. Now we need to check here the access tokens. We need to check request dot headers. Then after we need to pass this here the response objects, and then after we need to get this here the user callbacks if valid, then get this here user callback functions. And no need to check here the tabs because need to get both if both app inside need to call this API. That's why it not needs here. Now need to check here the parameters. Need to need this here checkings. Check parameters valid. Need to give this here the response object, request objects, and to check here the parameters. Now first of all need to need this here the booking ID. Then after need to rate ratings, and another parameters need to need this here command and to return this here all functions if valid, then to get this here the function get here. After need to write down here the update columns. Need to check here the user types. Need to write down here the SQL query. SQL is equal to call this here update booking detail and to call this here the set columns. Now first need to if assume as a this data are the user call this API. That's why I need to pass this here the driver ratings. If user calling this API, then save driver related rating. Driver rating. Driver calling this API, then save user rate like this concept here. Now we need to assume as a this data are the user callings like this. Then to set this here the driver rating question, and another need to driver comment is equal to question mark, where need to set here the booking ID and set here the conditions as a user ID, and need to check here's booking status is equal to question mark. Like this we need to set here the conditions. Now need to check user type, user object, user type equal to ut dot driver. Then need to change this query. Need to copy this query and to change here the columns names. Need to set here the user rating and user comment, and here user ID to driver ID. Like this, change these conditions and apply here. So now need to write down here the db object, db query. Need to hire here, write down here the SQLs and to pass this here the parameters. First once need to give this here the request object dot rating, then request object dot comment, then request object dot booking ID, then after so need to pass this here the user login user ID, access valid, then to give this here user ID, and always need to check this here the bs dot complete status. Need to call this here like this. Need to calling here. Now need to return here the errors and results. Set. Now need to check if errors, then need to call this here the helper pro errors and response return here. Now need to if results factors row more than 0, then to successfully create events. Need to pass this here response JSONs and to pass this here status is equal to 1, and to return this here the message. And to set here thank you for rating, thanks for rating, like this set here. Else parts need to else need to set here 0, and to msg else need to calling here, and this is the rating API. If you like this video, please give the thumbs up. If you're new user, so please subscribe my channels and press the notification bell icon. You can get every new video notifications and awesome content. If you have any question, so please write down the comment sections. I will help you and sort out your issue. Everyone have a nice day. Goodbye and take care.